Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on that Freeform Network. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions at gmail.com. But again, for Freeform Radio, my name is Daniel. Got with me today, Andy.
It's all good, Andy. Here in the Midwest, it's been shitty weather as this recording, so hope everybody's staying warm and is digging out of that snow.
Heck yeah, it's a chilly one. And we got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just trying to stay warm here. It's snowing pretty heavily, so gonna have to get out there and shovel in a bit. But for right now, it's ready to go on this one.
Yes, sir. Yeah, out here in Lake County wasn't too bad. I mean, this morning when I got up, I had maybe half an inch. It was like a dusting. It wasn't even that bad, but right now it's coming down. So hopefully everybody out there is staying warm. But let's jump into this week. Noel, let's jump into yours, man. I see you watched Carlito's Way. This is one that I've been meaning to watch, but it's been so long since I watched it. I don't even remember if I liked it that much to warrant a rewatch. Fill us in on your thoughts.
So yeah, Carlito's Way. I remember you having this like way back in the day. It might have been on DVD. Um, and I think I just remember you watching it and seeing parts of it. And so it caught my attention, but I never fully watched it as an adult. So I didn't really remember like what was going to be about and anything like that or who was in it. But I knew like it was, one of these movies that's up there, like it's revered, as part of like
Right.
the echelon of like a Goodfellas or Scarface and all that. And coincidentally, Brian De Palma, the director of this movie, is the same one that did Scarface. So him using Al Pacino again is like perfect. Um, and this one had Sean Penn and Penelope Ann Miller. She was in Kindergarten Cop and a number of other movies too. Sean Penn, of course, he's been in a bunch of stuff, Mystic River, tons of comedies and good movies and all sorts of stuff. He's done a bunch of things. Um, and anyway, so this movie, Brian De Palma directed it. It's essentially about a Puerto Rican convict who is released from prison. This is Al Pacino, that's his character, and he kind of promises in the beginning of the movie and in the courtroom he has like this big display of like, I'm gonna change my ways, you're never gonna see me in here again, I'm gonna get away from drugs, violence, everything he ever did before, it's over. And unfortunately, it's not that simple, because once you go back to that neighborhood, once you go back to those people that you once knew, it's like they pull you back into it. So it's one of those things. It's a story about a guy who's trying to redeem himself and kind of fly straight. But when you're around these people, it's not that easy and it gets complicated. And sometimes it's almost like ingrained in you in the way you were brought up that despite you wanting to be a different person, you're not. You can't just completely change who you are. And sometimes when you can't really be half in and half out when you're involved in the drug world and the crime world and all that. So it's uh it's considered a drug crime movie, a gangster movie, but it also has like elements of a psychological drama, psychological thriller. And it's like a sad movie, I would say, because you do see Al Pacino trying to do the right thing, and he cares about certain people, but he gets betrayed and people take advantage of him, and it's just it's a deeper movie than I was thinking it was gonna be. Deeper than Scarface for sure. I would actually say this is probably better than Scarface. It's definitely worth a watch. 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Quarter of a million people voted that way, so it's a pretty good amount of votes right there. And yeah, so that's you said you don't really remember this one, Daniel?
No, no, I don't. Is this where he's like a bus driver or the dad's a bus driver or am I mixing movies up? But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a Bronx Tale.
okay, yeah, yeah, that okay, makes sense.
And and
But
that was
yeah,
with yeah, Robert De Niro, but yeah, sorry.
no, but yeah, it's been a while. So I guess to refresh me and let me know, is it worth a good 2.5 hours, depending on how long this thing is? Is it worth rewatching? I mean, I seem to find it hard nowadays to see what do I put my time into? Do I do a little bit of gaming? Do I do a little watching Star Trek Next Generation, or do I watch something new and I don't know what's worth what.
Why
So
would you waste your time watching the Next Generation, dude?
yeah, Andy, and nobody want your opinion on that, but yeah.
A lot of people agree with me actually, but hey,
So is Carlito's Ways one of those that warrants that time to rewatch?
In my opinion, yes. It's a solid movie. It's a solid, entertaining, good movie. Um, I really don't have any complaints against it. And there's also, I think, influence. Like I think this influenced Vice City, because there's moments where the certain characters resemble characters in the game of Vice City. If you remember the lawyer in the beginning of Vice City, he's like a cokehead and he's just crazy, and T Tommy Vercetti's trying to like keep him calm. That's essentially like kind of like similar to what's going on in this movie. Sean Penn's character is like crazy, dude, and it's everyone in this movie, their characters that they play, you believe it. Like you don't really think like, oh, this is Al Pacino. You think this is Carlito, and Sean Penn, this is Kleinfeld, and John Leguizamo's in this. You got Luis Guzman, you got Viggo Mortensen, you got some really like star-studded cast here. So yeah, I would say it's 100% worth watching. And if you like Al Pacino in general, if you grew up watching a lot of his movies, Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, Godfather, all that stuff, yeah, Carlito's Way is just one of those you got to watch, man.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, so that was just one of the movies I watched recently. Moving on though, I actually watched Walking Dead has a spin-off, and it's called Daryl Dixon. And are you guys familiar with Walking Dead? You ever watch that show at all?
yeah, I mean the first Walking Dead, and I think the there was a show after that too. I've never watched the other. I think there's like two more spin-offs or something. I've never
Mhm.
seen any of them. Just those two, and that was it. Fear of the Walking Dead, I think, was the second show, and then The Walking Dead.
Yeah, so yeah, they had a bunch of like side stuff, but one of the main characters in the original show, Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, who
Hmm.
was actually an original character for the show, I don't believe he's in the comics at all. So they kind of just created him out of nowhere, and people loved it, and they actually kept him like they kept him around longer than what most people thought, being a character that's not really in the comics, right? And so because he's such a beloved character in the show, they gave him a spinoff, and the actor Norman Reedus, he's been just kind of killing it in like Hollywood and a bunch of stuff lately. He was in the Death Stranding games. Um, he started his off as Boondock Saints, so he's come a long way since his beginnings, right? And he has a spin-off show, and it's going to be 4 seasons. The fourth season's coming up this year, and that will finish off that show. Um, and so yeah, really quick, I just finished watching season three, and while one and two were good, it takes place in France, and it's in like obviously dystopian, like apocalyptic, Walking Dead universe. So just things are crazy, just like they are in America, but now it's in Europe setting. So you get like different scenery and different people, and the French people are cool and all that. But season three is like by far my favorite. It takes place in Spain, and yeah, man, it's like if you ever played Resident Evil 4 and that whole Spanish atmosphere and the people and all that, man, I grew to really like this season. Like it very much reminded me of Resident Evil 4, and just the zombies that you get in it and the people that are in it, the atmosphere, the look and everything, the gothic architecture, and it was just cool, man. Really digging season three. I don't want to spoil anything, but so the way season one and two worked, it was like a continuation of like like a whole little pocket of a story. So season one and two was about France and like wrapping up a storyline in France. So season three and four seems like it's going to be in Spain, and they're right now it's on a cliffhanger. So we're gonna see what happens in season four. Season three kind of ended like we don't really know exactly where they're gonna go from here, but essentially they're trying to get back home. And this whole journey, like Daryl wanted to explore and just kind of go on his own, but he went along for this ride that he didn't sign up for. He was kind of abducted and taken to Europe. So since season one, he's trying to get back. Now in season three, his means of returning got destroyed. So season four, we're trying to figure out, I guess, what they're gonna do. But so far, man, really digging it. Um, if you guys like zombies at all, that's my favorite genre in horror. So I've been like staying tuned on this. And yeah, I would highly recommend it for anybody that likes Walking Dead, anybody that likes that character Daryl Dixon, anybody that likes zombies in general. It's definitely a good show, and a good season.
Yeah, to me, I really dug The Walking Dead. I watched it pretty late into the seasons. Definitely after what was his name? Neil, that one guy with the big bat with Lucy. I watched it shortly after he was introduced into the show, maybe a
Negan.
season. Negan, yeah, that might be the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, the guy with the bat that
Hmm.
ended up killing off one of the characters. But yeah, I watched it a little bit into that, and then that's when I kind of dropped off. And I think they went for maybe another 2 or 3 seasons after that. So yeah, I haven't seen these latest ones. So I'm not sure how well it is, but yeah, Daryl was always a cool character. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would say it's worth a watch, man. And yeah, if you ever want it, I got it on Blu-ray, so could always let you borrow that and check it out. But yeah, so I just finished watching it. Season four will come out in hopefully a couple months, and then we'll just, I'll get you guys the update on that one. But moving on to the last thing real quick. So I finally finished Horizon Forbidden West and the DLC, and this is by far probably the longest game I think I've ever played in my life, man. Actually, no, Diablo 2 might be the longest one, but that's because it's just you play it until you don't want to play anymore. Whereas Horizon, I explored everything I could explore, man. 100 plus hours in this. I was like, dang, dude, like I've never played that long of a game with a contained story, you know? Um, Man, it had ups and downs in the second game. I actually really enjoyed the first part of it. The DLC kind of took a turn for the worse, I would say. While the story is cool, you could tell the person that wrote the story for the DLC, it's called Burning Shores. You could tell they have an agenda, and it's the same agenda that's been going in Hollywood and stuff, and trying to put romance in a specific way, and it just came out of nowhere, man. Because if you play the first game and the second game prior to the DLC, Aloy, she's not really into romance. She's not really into trying to hook up with anybody. She doesn't really show whether she likes men or women. It's just kind of ambiguous. It's just kind of like she's trying to fight for her life. She's trying to, save humanity, save the Earth, stop the machines. And in the second game, you definitely do that. You make more progress into that. You start making new friends and new allies, and you start conquering, the beating the bad guys and saving the people that are being oppressed by other like villages and other factions and gangs. But then out of nowhere in the DLC, it's like, oh, here's this romance. Here's this girl that all of a sudden Aloy is the love of her life and all that. I'm like, what the hell? And then there's all this dialogue that just she would never say that. Like she's never felt special about somebody. It's just really weird, man. And I was like, somebody wrote this in a way that's just they're trying to put an agenda and they're trying to check some boxes here. And I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. But I beat it and it was a good story, I guess. But it just left a bad taste in my mouth. It's like the sugar and bitterness afterwards.
Yeah, for
So
sure, man. Go ahead.
the character that you're talking about is just like straight action. Nothing, nothing involved in their personal life has ever been developed or a storyline in previous games. And today now it feels like in this new game it's just like forced in there.
It felt forced, 100%. She's had like I guess friendships, right? Like she'll have friendships with a
Hmm.
lot of different people and it's almost like a family like they developed, like they have each other's back and all that. But there was nothing of like, oh, I feel like you're special and there's something about you, you're just great or whatever. Like it was not this lovey-dovey just randomness. And for this person that she just met, like she's only known her for like 5 minutes and already she's special and they want to hug and all. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here, dude? It's just that at the very end, you get the option of choosing, do you kiss her, do you not? Like, what do you do? So I chose not. I'm like, this is just bizarre, dude. Like, even if she is, going that way, like if she feels that way, it's just so rushed. She just met this person. Like, why would she feel that way? So I chose the option to not kiss her or whatever. And then it gave the dialogue, like, I'm not ready at this time. Like, I just got, I just fought this person I've been trying to survive. I'm not ready for this special relationship or whatever. And I was just like, oh, then they hug and embrace and look off into the sunset. I'm just like, this is, oh man, I don't know, dude. I'm like, all right, I just want to play the next game just for the story, and hopefully they don't make even more of this, but more than likely they will. I'm gonna see how the reviews come out for it, but if it's like even more of the agenda, I might just skip it altogether. We'll see though.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I hear what you're saying. You see it all the time, even in one of my subjects coming up. You kind of see it, but then you see the flip. Uh, I know it's not my subject time, but I've been playing Silent Hill 2, the remake, and that's an old game from back in PlayStation 2. And the way they set up those characters are different than what you would set up those characters in a modern day game. So it is different, and sometimes it just doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, there's a problem, real quick with everything that current creators and media like with these franchises. They're trying to, I mean, I don't want to use the word update, but they're trying to update some of these characters that in previous uh, iterations of how they've been books, movies, gaming, they're trying to update them, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And you saw a lot of that in Star Wars, and it turned away a lot of people. And then you saw some of that in Disney, and that upset a lot of people. And it's kind of slowly going away, but sometimes not every character needs that, and sometimes the modernization of some of these characters or intellectual properties, they don't need it. So, um, but we'll see. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. It reminds me kind of in the 90s where they had to make a lot of sidekicks female in comics, especially on Marvel and like Image Comics, but some of it was successful and some of it was not.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. And I don't have issues just, for the record, like, with people's romantic, like whatever they're into, as long as it's two consenting adults, whatever, man. It felt forced. The whole romance part of it just felt forced and just like unneeded. So, but yeah, we'll see how the next game is. Shifting it over to you, Andy. Let's talk about the He-Man trailer, man. What's up with this one?
So I don't know if you guys saw earlier in the last week, they released a teaser trailer saying like the new trailer's coming out. I don't know if you guys saw the teaser at all or if you saw the new trailer. I saw the trailer yesterday. Um, did you guys get the chance to look at it at all?
Yes, I did. Not
Okay.
sure if you watched it, Noel.
No, so the Masters of the Universe, I've heard like it's coming out or whatever, but I didn't watch the trailer yet. No.
So oh yeah, I mean, He-Man has this. It's an '80s. For people that don't know, our younger listeners, it was popular in the '80s. It had a nice little run, early '80s. I was into He-Man. I would watch it when I come home from school. Um, the whole story is with Prince Adam. His mom landed in Eternia. She was like an astronaut or something, if I remember correctly. And then Prince Adam came along. She married the king, the prince, and then He-Man came along and he defended Eternia from Skeletor. So the trailer shows Prince Adam or He-Man. He's in like modern times in a major city, and there's like a narration talking about he had to get sent away or something where they could never find him. And then in the trailer that he's trying to find the sword to get back home, and he finds it, and then he gets back home, and then you see Man at Arms and some of the other characters, and then there's like this epic battle going on, and then you hear his mom talking, um, and then you see a glimpse of Skeletor. And this is made by MGM, or they got the rights, and it looks decent. I actually want to check it out, but kind of like what we talked about with you, Noel. Like, who knows what the hell they're gonna do? Like, what kind of Force stuff they might try to change up to modernize it, because uh, there's been on the cartoon's been rebooted a couple times and not very well. There was one, I think, in the early 2000s with Cartoon Network, which was pretty decent. It just didn't work. And then they tried it again with Kevin Smith for Netflix, and that thing bombed miserably. A lot of it was with it was the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, but he got kind of pushed off to the side, and they were pushing somebody else, another character, and it did not do good. There's a lot of people bitching about it. So, let's see how what they do. I mean, to me, it looks good. Uh, but nothing can beat the 80s Dolph Lundgren He-Man Masters in the Universe. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. It was just pure 80s cheese. Maybe Danny saw it. I don't think you saw it, Noel.
Yeah, I remember watching the movie. It's kind of faint because I only saw it once
Yes.
back in the day. But yeah, it this trailer looks 100 times better. It looks more authentic to the source material. It basically looks like the cartoons brought to life. Uh, Man at Arms looks like Man at Arms. He-Man looks like himself. So really cool. Like how they're blending the Earth and I forgot what the
Eternia.
Eternia looks like. So really cool. Castle Grayskull looks awesome. The
Hmm.
sword is like the original OG, not some reimagined. So really excited. I thought the trailer really hit it
The
well, and I'm excited.
the thing when he's the He-Man, so when he raises it and he's like, I have the power thing. They didn't really. They kind of did, but He-Man didn't look as jacked as I would want him to be, because the character. I mean, he's tall and stuff, but he's not jacked. Did that bother you at all, Danny? I don't know if you noticed that detail. And then when he does do the thing, it looked like a nuclear weapon went off in the trailer. But
To me, he looked like a fit, and I thought
yeah.
that's all really He-Man needs to be. Now, back in our kids, like maybe most people don't know, but this started off as a toy line first, and then they made a cartoon for it and a comic for it. So it started off as just action figures, and action figures, they wanted it to be larger than life. So everybody's muscular, even Man at Arms that
Hmm.
is, 50 years old in the game. He's like an old guy and he's jacked as heck. So, yes, not every character needs to be like that. You could be normal size, but obviously He-Man does need to be fit, and muscular would be better, but it doesn't need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger big,
He just
Terminator
looked too
big like
lean
that.
to me. No, he needs to be Schwarzenegger Stallone big. But we'll see how they do it. Maybe they'll make it work. Um,
I
yeah, I
wonder if,
recommend you watch that 80s movie, Noel. I mean, I want to get your input before you see this. I mean, it looks good. I'm actually do want to see it. You know, and, it's just like everything. It comes back around. But good going off of He-Man's past, I don't know. We'll see the story, but maybe they're sticking, like Danny said, closer to the source material.
I'm watching the trailer now. It looks pretty cool, man. Like the CG and all that, it looks pretty
Mm-hmm.
solid. Yeah, like they're probably putting a good amount of budget on this one, so yeah,
It's
I'll
Bezos'
definitely be
movie.
watching this. You know what? I
Yeah,
might end up watching the Dolph Lundgren one today. Now you got me in the mood for
check
some
it out.
fantasy.
I don't know. There's a Blu-ray or 4K on that. Maybe a Blu-ray. But check it out. Yeah, see if we can find it. I was real quick on something else. I was like seeing how many movies they're releasing so many movies in 4K. Like you don't even see them. advertise it. It's just like fucking nuts, especially a lot of older movies. But I don't know. I'm assuming that one maybe best case is Blu-ray. But I'm gonna change it up here a little bit as it's recording. The Bears lost to the Rams in close fashion. It was a hell of a game. So they're out of the playoffs. And when this episode drops, I think we'll be playing the Super Bowl by then, right? 2 weeks. That is Championship Sunday. So then 2 weeks for the Super Bowl. So yeah, and the Super Bowl will be coming out that day. But getting back to the Bears, they had a hell of a run this year. They beat the Packers twice. They won the division. After 0-2 start, they made a hell of a run. That's a lot to say. And then they had a great season by all accounts of what we've been through in the last 5, 6 years. Um, just what's interesting about all this is the national media. I remember last year they were shitting on the on Caleb Williams a lot. We had a not a great head coach who got fired, by the way, from his current position this year in Dallas, um, and they turned around and everybody is on Caleb Williams' nuts now. They all love him because of his comebacks. Going next year, it's just gonna be interesting to see what the national media says. Um, I just don't know. To me, when you make a playoff run, you get a win in the playoffs. It's imperative you give it all you got. But we talked about in previous episode. Me and Danny talked that defense they weren't gonna win. I didn't see them winning this much this year, on top of it winning the championship or the Super Bowl. But I'll give you this: on Sunday, the defense stepped up, and I think the offense kind of let us down. I mean, he had that crazy Hail Mary at the end for the end of regulation, which is insane, right? And um, they just need an average defense, and then we'll see what happens. The DJ Moore thing, there's a lot of speculation. What's going on? People now saying that he was hurt throughout the whole game, that he shouldn't really even been playing. But who knows when we'll get the full story on that. But again, the Bears had a hell of a run. They got a great coach. Everybody's marveling about the coach. They're crazy about the quarterback. They're a great offensive line. I think they get a better running back and a better defensive line. See what happens. And you saw when the Bears win, this fucking town goes nuts. It's definitely a Bears town. Um, what do you think, Danny, this season? Did this exceed your expectations?
Yeah, to me, was expecting a lot less, to be
Hmm.
quite honest. I think the Bears have not had a great season with all these other coaches, and we've spoke about it at nauseum already. So I wasn't expecting much. So them making the playoffs, I think, was a good stride. Them having a winning record was a good mark. Them having a playoff win was definitely good. So I think this is a definitely plus. Caleb Williams, I've said it from the start. I don't really think he's that great of a quarterback. I think he has greatness possibilities, but I don't know, man. I hate to say it. I would take Aaron Rodgers in his old ass age, being all grumpy and curmudgeon. I'd rather have him in
Come
here.
on, man.
But Caleb does have a future trajectory that hopefully will be great. But I don't know. I really don't see him taking the blame and taking ownership to some of these laws. That pick was on him. If he knew, which, yeah, I told you about it when we were talking pre-game, like before the game, like, hey, what do we think? I told you, I'm like, I think Moore is injured. I think DJ is injured. He hasn't been himself. He's caught a few passes here and there, but he's definitely not the player. They were really relying on the tight end a ton. So I
But
just
he
felt
was
like
hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, then he got hurt, so he was not available. So he went to Moore because Odunze was dropping a few passes.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it that that was his best bet to get a catch. But when Moore didn't catch it and they kind of deemed him as giving up on the play, I didn't see Caleb defending him. So he kind of let him have that loss and hang it on DJ. And that's why now there's even talks about DJ being traded, which is fine. I mean, it's business. If they want to trade him, that's fine. But I don't like
Salary
that part.
cap.
I don't like Caleb not taking ownership. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be like Josh Allen and crying at the podium, but I do want to see some
Ah,
emotion.
damn.
I want to see some emotion from the guy. I mean, if he cries to his mama when he lost that college game, then you can give me a little like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to the Bears fans. I messed up. I read it wrong. Especially because if you see some of that play in general, he only needed like 6 or 7 yards, and there was a guy that he could have checked down and got that yardage. Now, granted, it's the end of the game, or it's the overtime, and he wants to get another dynamic play and get this big crowd going. But you could have checked down, got the first down, and kept going. And I just think he had a bad read, and I put it more on him, but he didn't take it. He didn't take ownership of it, in my opinion.
Damn, Dan, tell us what you really feel. So
He's
I think that a
he
lot of people are
he's
going to
got a
disagree with you. Everybody's blaming Moore because he wasn't running at full stride. On that, but
right because he was
I can
injured.
hear you. I mean, he did have he had a lot of interceptions. There, he doesn't. I think you're starting to see he's not taking the easy play. But that's stuff that hopefully he improves on. I'm with you. He's sometimes you just fucking do the check down, and I think he struggles with that. I'll give you that. Like that drop back, he just kept running back. I'm like, well, this game's fucking over, and then he just fucking winged it. To me, that's some Aaron Rodgers shit, like you said, right?
Right.
We've seen him do those plays, but it just he has a lot to learn. So we'll see. But to me, that the interceptions are on him, but that route, and it's been going on all season. Some of the routes, I think some of the receivers were giving up, and we'll see. I don't know if you got the chance to see the game, Noel. Any thoughts or stuff like that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't watch the game, but I did see like how it ended. I saw it was a close one, and just from a lot of people at work, everybody talking about it and all that, I kind of get the gist of what happened, and they had a good run, man. So to me, I'm not as emotionally invested as I used to be, so it doesn't really like hurt or feel good in any kind of way like that. But I'm happy for everyone else that is really like, rooting for them, that they had a good season overall and they're heading in the right direction. So this next year, I mean, maybe they'll get even closer to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they had a hell of a run. We'll see what happens next year. We got baseball just around the corner, and people are gonna be talking about the Bears for the rest of the season. But like I said, Danny said, everybody's saying they had a hell of a run. People didn't expect much, but we'll see what happens. But let's change it over to Danny here. Noel's had a hell of a run. Was uh Stranger Things, and they just their final season just popped up, and need to say it was also controversial. I think they had a couple of controversial episodes there at the end. So let us know what you think, Danny. Did you like this finale? And I kind of stopped watching after like the second season. I mean, when they were kids, now I see them; they're full blown adults.
Yeah, no, it definitely is different. First off, I did like the fifth season. I thought it tied up a bunch of stuff. In some senses, I think it was a little rushed to the ending, so I feel like they could have developed it a little bit better. But at the end of it, I think they did a good job as to the last episode, especially the last scene was very well made, where they kind of show the group. almost a homage to how it started. So really cool in that sense. But yeah, I think they tied up a bunch of loose ends. There's a bunch of theories that this isn't the end, even though the writers have brought up that this is the last, that these characters won't be seen together in this way again. But there's a lot of people with fan theories that it's not really the end to this saga. Um, I kind of feel like it's the end, and it's just people looking to see if there's anything else because they're just so beloved. I mean, when this show first started, it really rung to me. It gave me like that Goonies vibe. It gave me like that little kids going off into an adventure, riding their bikes, going to school and dealing with school stuff. So I really connected with that, and I think it was a great show for that. But you're right, Andy. These were 20-year-old kids playing high school teenagers, and they some of them you could see it. You could see that they're older. But I
Hmm.
mean, that's just the strike, the writer strike, and a bunch of other things that made it where the show couldn't wrap up a year or two ago. So it's not really their fault. But yeah, there is a lot of controversy in it, specifically into some of the like reveals towards the tail end. And to me, it was fine. I'm not really sure why people were so, uptight about it. One of the characters comes out to be a gay character, and he comes out towards the end, and people are like all in an uproar about it. But I kind of felt that that was his sexual preference earlier, even before the revealed. So I just kind of already assumed that from the character. But for him to actually come out and say it, I guess people didn't care for it too much. But I thought it fit to what the story was. The ending prior to the last scene I thought was good. So I didn't really care. And I'm being kind of vague. I'm not trying to give spoilers since this thing just happened during Christmas, I think is when they showed the last episode. So I'm trying not to give any kind of spoilers away to people. But really cool. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Stranger Things, Noel. Have you watched this?
Yeah, dude, I'm a big fan. I mean, not the hugest fan, but I do like the show. And season five, I haven't gotten around to watching it yet, but I'm officially gonna watch it. If not today, tomorrow, I'm gonna start it. And it's only 8 episodes, I believe. People were like, you guys were saying earlier, they were talking about a possible ninth, like hidden episode or something.
Right.
But until that happens, I'm just gonna watch the eight that's out. And yeah, I know what you're talking about with the reveal, him coming out of the closet, whatever. Um, but a lot of people also said like in a real life scenario, who's going to be talking about this when you're fighting for like humanity and life and all that? Like you're coming up against an evil, and your immediate reaction is like, "Hey guys, this is what I like to do," and then it's just weird, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to see the episode because in my opinion, it didn't feel too shoehorned, without divulging too much of the last episodes or that episode in particular. He's having a hard time gripping with the power from Vecna, and he sees how him holding this secret inside of him is kind of hampering him from being all he can be. Um, as far as it comes with battling Vecna, that he's like, I'm gonna let everything go and just be who I am so it can help me help you guys fight Vecna. So it kind of fits with the narrative a little, I feel. So I didn't think it was terribly done, but I get what you're saying. The way you described it, if people have that perspective, then yeah, I could see how people can hate it without watching the episode. But cool to watch it, man. I'm glad you're gonna watch it because I think it's very well ended. At least the last scene was very great, and it fit perfect, I think, to the show. So yeah, definitely watch it. The reason for the ninth episode theories, it's funny because I watched a YouTube video, and they come up with a ton of plot holes and things that make it to where it's a possibility. It's like like and I feel like it's the show's fault for all of these theories because there is a lot of plot holes. When I was watching it, just without even watching this YouTube video, I myself was like, what about this? And what about this? If this is happening, how can that be if this is the other issue going on? So I felt myself like there was some plot holes. And then when I saw that YouTube video about the theoretical ninth episode, I was just like, yes, I saw those. And then they brought up even other stuff that I didn't know. And I was just like, damn, these show writers did not keep track of, I forget what they call it, Andy, like the show Bible, where they're like, these are all the rules to the show.
Yeah,
And it's like this
there's a
is the
job.
universe.
Somebody has a job in when you create movies and stuff like
Right.
that, and like to make sure there's canon and you're following up with quotes and stuff.
Continuity.
Yeah. So maybe are they making like a movie or anything like that?
Well, they're having a spin-off, but I think I heard it's a prequel. I'm not
Uh,
really sure. They haven't really divulged too much about this spin-off that they're doing. Kind of like Stranger Things to Family Matters spin-off. I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as
what?
Family Matters. Oh, you don't like that reference, Andy?
There's a Family Matters reference in Stranger Things.
No, no, I'm just saying how Stranger Things started. No, Perfect Strangers
Perfect
started.
Strangers. Yeah.
Yeah, Perfect Strangers started, and then there was a Family Matters spin-off from
That's
that.
right. That's right. Yeah.
This is how that's going to spin off, but maybe
Uh-huh.
maybe that's a little too old for you guys out
You're
there.
stretching
But
it thin there. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, good show. Definitely worth the watch, especially if you're a Stranger Things fan. I was gonna hold off to watch it, but no, Junior was really um pumped to watch it, so we binged it and it was worth it. Definitely. Something else that wasn't really worth it, Andy, and I'm not sure if you've seen this one, but Uncle Buck, man. I'm a John Candy fan. I think he's a funny character. I think he's a funny comedian. And a lot of people hyped up this movie. I had never seen it, watched it. Wasn't a terrible movie, so maybe I'm being a little too harsh on it, but it definitely wasn't a Home Alone. It definitely
No, I
wasn't like
mean
other funny movies
it's
like
a funny movie. I mean, but it's not. It's a solid John Candy movie. I'll give you that.
I, uh, there's a recent documentary. I forget who released it. Maybe HBO Max or Hulu. Somebody did a documentary on
Mm-hmm.
John Candy. So I watched it, and then they were talking about airplanes, trains, and
Yeah.
cars, or I
Yeah.
forget
Yes.
that one.
Mm-hmm. Plane, trains,
And
and automobiles.
yes, and I haven't seen that one, so
That
that's the
one's
next
good.
one. That's the next one I'm gonna watch. But they were, Uncle Buck and then this and this and this. So I'm like, all right, I've never seen it. Let me give it a shot. I do like John Candy, and I gotta tell you, man, I didn't really like it. I thought the pacing was kind of bad. There was a lot of harsh cuts here and there, so it kind of affected the flow of the movie. I don't know if this was like his like early-ish movies. I forget the name of the director, but I don't know if
Hughes.
Hughes, yeah, I don't know if it was like his early stuff, and then he starts getting better as he releases more movies. Uh, wasn't John Candy's fault. I blame this more on the director, just because the movie I think is paced wrong, and there's just like a lot of hard cuts. I feel like if this had like a director's cut version, maybe with like longer stuff, maybe it was a 3 hour movie and they're like, dude, you need to cut this down to an hour 40 so we could get on USA and TNT. And maybe that's where the movie kind of fell apart when you cut a bunch of it off. But yeah, Uncle Buck didn't really like it too much. It is what it is. I'm gonna try to watch that other one, airplanes, trains, and automobiles, or whatever it's
Planes,
called.
trains, and automobiles.
I knew it was those three, but I didn't know in what order.
So that actually came out 2 years before Uncle Buck.
Oh, really? Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's good. I actually watched the trailer while I was trying to decide between that and Uncle Buck, and I got to tell you, I was just like, Uncle Buck looks funnier, especially because Macaulay Culkin's in it. But uh, the airplane movie doesn't look terrible, so I'm still
It's
gonna give it a chance.
it's funny. It's a dramedy. It's like real. It's funny but it's very dramatic. And then to me, it's a Christmas movie. But yeah, I mean that one got him a lot of praise, and I think that one. I think kind of put him on the map, and because he's done a bunch of other stuff like Stripes and Mermaid, and but he wasn't the star. He was just like a supporting actor. Then he did a bunch of movies too, whereas he's the actor, and it wasn't really. They weren't good, and then he was trying to do like serious stuff when he had a scene, a couple scenes in JFK and some other
Right.
stuff, and but
Cool
yeah, those
Runnings,
those are the staples of planes, trains, automobiles, Uncle Buck, and I think
Stripes,
Cool
he
you
had
said.
Runnings, man.
Cool
Home
Runnings.
Alone too.
Cool
Yeah,
Runnings, dude.
Yeah, I've never
Cool
seen
Runnings. Yeah, I don't consider that. That's like a Disney movie. Um, I haven't seen that in forever. I saw a clip of it the other day. It was funny when they get to Canada or whatever. But
Yeah.
he's been in a lot. He's been in a ton of stuff.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I've
John
never
Hughes,
seen Cool
man.
Runnings either.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead,
should
Noel.
definitely watch that one, man. Not just real quick, John Hughes, the guy that directed, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, and Uncle Buck. I mean, he's done a tons of movies that,
Hmm.
like, I would
Oh
say
yeah.
we all enjoy.
Hmm.
From 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, he's,
Yeah,
done
Ferris
some great
Bueller. Yeah.
stuff. So I think, yeah, if Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I think you're gonna like it. And then Cool Runnings, man. Like, that was one of my favorite shows or movies watching as a kid. So I think John Candy was perfect for that one. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mentioned, I don't know if it was just the way it was cut that I didn't care for, but not a bad movie. It was funny,
And,
but just not Home Alone funny to me in my
and
opinion.
Uncle Buck got turned into a TV show.
Oh, did
I
it?
think it lasted like a season, but yeah, they made it into a TV show. That's how popular that movie was when it came out.
And I gotta say, I haven't watched all of John Hughes movies either. I've never watched Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, 16 Candles. I've never watched any of those. So
You never watch Ferris Bueller?
no,
That's a
no.
good. Put that on your list, and I think you'll like it.
I've seen a few clips here and there. Pretty in Pink, I've never seen. I've
Yeah,
seen Weird Science, the National
yeah,
Lampoon movies, the Home
yeah.
Alone movies, but I've never seen any of the other ones. So maybe I definitely got to give it more of a shot. But yeah, I just didn't like Uncle Buck. I'm gonna try Planes, Trains, and Automobiles next, and give that a shot and see if it's any better.
Th- Ferris Bueller put on your list. That you might have some nostalgia when they ditched school to go hang out in the city, so that might bring back some memories.
Yeah, because it's in based in Chicago,
Yeah,
right?
it's in
I know.
Chicago.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I know John Hughes loves Chicago, so yeah, I might definitely have to watch that one for sure. But gentlemen, I think that's all the time we have. Let's jump into our article, man. All right, fellas. Here we got an article. Where the heck is this article from? Controlyourbrand.com. So I don't know how the hell I got this webpage, but I was curious. What started it, Andy, is I was curious as to who's listening to podcasts, who's out there um, listening to this one and many of thousands of other ones, probably millions of podcasts. I think it's grown tremendously in the last decade, I would say. But yes, who's listening to podcasts? And I ran across this one that had some statistics, and I thought they were very interesting. So the article came out late last year, came up with a breakdown of 2025 audiences for podcasting. And I could read a bunch of this off, but Andy and Noel, I figured we would hit some of these big subject ones that they have and kind of just open it up to some conversation about them. So let's go down the list here um, and look to see who is the age group um, that most listens to podcasts. I was kind of surprised with this, to be honest. It kind of breaks it down into 5 or 6 year groups of ages, sometimes 10 years of ages. But the winner or the one that had the biggest range was young millennials 25 to 35 are the most podcast consumers, and that really jumped out to me, that statistic, and how boomers 55 and older are the lowest percentages of listening to it. Only 13% of boomers in relationship to 30 for the young millenniums. Is this something that was surprising to you, Andy? Did you think the same?
I mean, I'm pretty sure millennials would probably be the top, and 25 to 34 is at 30, so that's the highest. And Gen Z, I think there was going to be probably next, but there is like an 8% drop off, and I blame TikTok and all that shit. So because they discover there's comments on the Discover podcast versus via YouTube and TikTok, and then Gen Xers, I thought would be kind of bigger because we've always liked listening to people talk, I guess, or something, and the way we kind of grew up. But yeah, I mean, young people, millennials, I always thought was your core, which me and you, Danny, were a little bit older than them. So, but that's where I thought the numbers would be. I like when they starts breaking down their education, how they listen to it, and the overall number of people who listen to podcasts. And the year they did this, it was a pretty staggering number. And there was a growth rate of almost 7% from the year before.
Yeah,
And the
for
amount
sure.
of time that people listen. Basically, people listen to one podcast a day or an hour long because it's 7 hours per week. That's the average. So that's basically 1 hour a week, or 1 hour a day. I'm saying they're listening to
Yeah,
something.
yeah, for sure. Any thoughts, Noel, about the ages of listeners out there of podcasts?
I mean, yeah, it's I feel like it's pretty accurate. It makes sense. Podcast, yeah, like you said, it's about 10 years, maybe definitely older, but it became like very popular in the last 10 years. And I think it's pretty accurate what it said here for my age group. Listen during commutes and workouts, value educational and business podcasts. Well, I do watch a bunch of stuff, not just, educational stuff or not just business stuff. I typically do watch it on my morning commute to work, and I'll just have something playing, sometimes video game related, just to kind of get the bullet points and stuff. So yeah, it strikes true here for my age group, and it's a sizable percentage, 20%. It looks like you guys would be, right around that group, maybe the Gen X, so the 14%. Do you guys feel it's accurate, growing audience segment for you guys, especially business, finance, stuff like that?
I mean, the
Yeah,
business finance, yeah, because they're older. Well, I mean, we're getting older.
yeah, for sure. I think it kind of fits. The next big category here was gender. This one kind of surprised me. I thought it would be greater for males, considerably greater. I mean, it is bigger. It's saying 52% are male listeners, 47 are female, and 1% and growing. They put a point here of non-binary or others. So I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to be more like a 70-30 split for males to females. But maybe, it's like you mentioned, business, and that's not really gender related. That's just people that want to grow and be more smart with their money, and it's not necessarily a gender thing. But I know that the sports podcasts are huge, and I figured that would bring those numbers way up because I know a lot of people listen to sports podcasts. Was this something surprising to you, Noel?
There's, I didn't really have like a number in mind in terms of that. I never really put much thought into it in terms of the gender differences of who is really tuning in and stuff. I did think, I guess I would say I thought more men would listen to podcasts and it'd be more split that way, but I didn't have like a number in mind or anything. So it was interesting to see like just where they got all these figures. I kind of wonder that too, like who signs up for these surveys or how do they get these numbers really?
For sure. Andy, any huge shock with the age or the gender?
Well, no, I mean, for a while, uh, the female side, I thought it'd be a little bigger because for a while the Call Her Daddy podcast was like that
Mm, right.
started from Barstool. then they split up, and the one girl kept it, and she was like the number one podcast for like a couple months early last year. And I'm looking at the top podcast for 2025, and it's still Joe Rogan, and then Crime Junkie, a true crime genre, and then Call Her Daddy, and then Dateline, another true crime. To me, the true crime stuff, I know women love. I mean, they just love that stuff, and I think top podcasts kind of show that. And then Joe Rogan's still number one, and then a news podcast is The Daily, and then you got Theo Vaughn and a science and health one, Huberman Lab, and it goes to show you that it's a mixed. They're a mixed thing. The sports ones are. I listen a lot to sports podcasts. A lot of them are on YouTube. I get clips, and they do have huge numbers on YouTube, but overall, I don't know if they're listening to like that full hour or two of just daily sports talk. I know people just chime into sections like Pat McAfee. He's on ESPN and he's on YouTube, and then I check in on him, but I just watch clips of the show. I don't watch his full 2 or 3 hour show.
Right, right. The next big category here was income. This one I don't think was too surprising. 44% fall into the 50K to 99K category. The next big group is 31% for 100K plus annually, and the lowest group was under 50K. I think that makes pretty sense. It's the middle group, like you mentioned, Andy, people that are getting into finances, watching sports, stuff like that. Joe Rogan's group. I would figure it'd be more of a middle tier working class. Any shockers for you, Andy?
No, I mean, I think the availability and the ease of how you consume media on, i.e., podcast, has changed a lot since we started. It was big into the apps, like Stitcher and iHeart and Apple Podcast on the phone. Now it's just like the big two. It's like YouTube and like Spotify. Everybody else is just like whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't really. I think
Doesn't
that
shock you.
the shocking with the money. I mean, it's just the availability of people get to see it, which it breaks down to what I would like to see. Those 100K, like what are the top shows they're listening to? I think that you'll see a difference there of what the
For, s-
100K salary down to the 50 to 99 to the under 50.
for sure, Noel. Any thoughts on the income of these people?
Um, it's interesting to see the numbers, but I guess I never really put too much thought into like the salary ranges of people. I'd figure like all walks of life would listen to podcasts. It never really seemed like, oh yeah, you're rich, you listen to a lot more than I do or something like that, you know? So it's interesting to see these numbers, but I guess I can't really make sense of it. Like I don't really know what other people make, so I don't know like, oh yeah, you make a lot of money, you have to watch
We
podcasts,
we
you
could
know?
send a
Right.
survey and go to all our hundreds of listeners, how much money you guys make, and then we just find out our listeners are broke, and so are we. So we're that's why they connect with us.
Well, well, let's move over to the education one. Did that shock you, Noel? 68% bachelor degree or higher, 28% postgraduate degrees. So I'm assuming like post high school. I'm not really sure, but yeah, 68% bachelor's, not too bad, man, or higher, probably masters and whatnot,
Yeah, that's a pretty high number, but I guess
right?
it makes sense because especially nowadays, when I went to school, the internet was like it was good, but it wasn't as good as it is now. I mean, it's almost 20 years, I think, since I graduated, man. I started 20 years ago. Yeah, that was my freshman year of college. So yeah, it's a lot has changed since then, and I do have my bachelor's too, but I think it makes sense. Like people that are in school that are studying that are getting these degrees, they probably are tapped into all these resources like learning from podcasts for wellness or whatever it is
Right.
and just how to manage your time and there's a lot of cool stuff out there so it makes sense um yeah.
Yeah, no, and it does make sense. I mean, some of our highest downloaded videos are organics. Those few that you brought up articles, Noel, with organics and healthy living. So yeah, I think that is a big group, and it would make sense to higher education. Any thoughts from you, Andy?
No, no, I mean it's good to see the art form of podcasting is it looks like it's embraced with people who have higher education, bachelor's and higher, and to me that means it's like a lot of people with uh education embraced it. So that I mean, and but in generally, I think a lot of people who have don't have degrees or just have high school or education. I think a lot of them use it to learn about other culture or scientific things or something like that to gain some knowledge of something they've always been interested, but I might have that formal education.
Yeah, for sure. One a couple of these last ones, guys. Device usage, I thought this was pretty spot on. 62% on mobile, 28% on smart speakers, 10% on desktops. Listening time, 63% listening during commuting or multitasking. I would think that's even higher because that's probably
Hmm.
like the majority of how I do it. Preferred formats, 45% prefer hybrids, audio and video podcasts. I know we've
Hmm.
been talking about getting this into video as well. So that was pretty interesting. Discover channels, YouTube 41%, Spotify, like Andy mentioned, 29, and then Apple Podcast 18, and then all the rest at the bottom. So very interesting stats there. Yeah, the listening time, like I mentioned, I usually do it. Commutes almost 100% guaranteed, and
Yeah.
then multitasking. I'll be frying some eggs for breakfast, and I'll just turn on a podcast in the background on my phone while I'm cooking or doing whatever. So yeah, definitely. Anything surprising there for you, Noel?
It makes sense. I do the same. I usually do multitasking, and yeah, so sometimes I'll have it like just playing in the background doing whatever, and it's especially like on my morning commute, like I said, just catch up on the daily news or whatever. And it's not always like a podcast per se, like a long format, like a 6 hour Joe Rogan episode. It'll sometimes be like these short form clips or like maybe more bite size, like a 20-minute podcast for like I only have like a 20-minute commute, so it sometimes works perfectly. I find a good podcast that I
Yeah.
like.
I'm with like Noel, the Joe Rogan. I mean, I usually see clips, but he had Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on a couple episodes ago, and it was like almost a 3 hour podcast. I remember listening to him back to back in the commutes, and then like by the third day, I was kind of like burned out because they were talking a lot of inside shop on Hollywood, and yeah, it to me like I mean I love those podcasts, but it just got too long. And I think that's one of the issues. I wish I would have seen like what time frame on the thing, how long they want that up your uploads to last, like an hour's like to us hour, I think is the cutoff. But like those 2 to 3 hour ones are, I mean, Joe Rogan is notorious for it. It seems now I'm just like that's a lot.
Yeah,
It
for me,
it
I,
really
I
is.
agree. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it sounds like Noel's in the same page. I like that hour format. And there's some that I really like. There's this video game one that I like, called Sacred Symbols, and that's typically like a 3 hour podcast. So I have to split it up. Luckily, like I mentioned, commute is almost guaranteed. So as soon as I start driving to work and as soon as I start driving back home, I'm almost binging all the podcasts that I listen to. So definitely like the shorter format, but if it's a long format, I do have to split it up. But I agree with you, Andy. Sometimes I miss out on some good Joe Rogan ones just because it's too much, man. It's too big and I can't
Hmm.
finish it. I'm one of those people that I don't want to miss out on anything, so I have to listen to everything cover to cover. That's just the way I am, so it's kind of tough.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
challenging.
It's just this is life, you know. It's just we work and we have things going on, responsibilities. It's only so much time, man. And he's cranking out episodes. He's been doing that for decades, you know, at this point, or over a decade. So it's almost like next to impossible to really be able to catch up on all that stuff. And that's just one podcaster. So unless you're only listening to one podcast, it's gonna be hard to really catch up on
Mm-hmm.
everything. But that's why I like those short videos. Kind of gets to the point. It's like this is what I want to learn right now, or this is what I want to know about, versus watching a whole podcast that's multiple hours, and I'm like, where's that part that I want to see? Like, where in this whole 6 hours?
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I did hear about that Matt Damon one. I watched a couple clips of it, and you know who else podcast I like? Just real quick shout out, Michael Rosenbaum, I believe his name is. He was in Smallville.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good one.
and he has a lot of cool people on there, man. And I've been watching these like clips of it, and I'm probably gonna start watching like a full podcast of his. I'm gonna make it on my routine to start watching more and more of that because it's really cool to see the interviews they had. They had Riker on there, Jonathan Frakes,
Yeah,
and it's just really cool to hear all the inside stuff. And
He had the
yeah,
girl that
from
was
Smallville.
Smallville recruiting all those
Yeah,
people for the cult after she got out, and I saw clips
yeah,
of that, and it was like a great insight to her mind at that time, But
yeah, it's a
yeah,
pretty good exclusive for sure.
yeah,
yeah, man. He's definitely up and coming. I see him being bigger and bigger every time. So it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna start watching more of that. I'll have to check that episode out. I haven't watched it yet.
I saw David Duchovny. He's got a podcast going. He had Gillian Anderson on not too
really.
long ago. So yeah, he's got a podcast as well.
Nice,
Sweet, I gotta
dude.
find that. Yeah.
I actually just bought the X-Files Blu-ray collection recently. I got it. It's a pretty pricey product here, man, but it's worth it. It's like I have the physical media for life. So it's yeah, good old David Duchovny and X-Files, man. I have to watch that episode as well. But let us know what you think about podcasts, everybody, and what kind of stuff you watch in addition to ours. But that wraps things up for today. So thank you so much for joining us on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, follow us on X at FFR Podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions for any topics you want us to cover, the email to drop that is ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir. No Bears today, but there's some good football, so definitely gonna watch it later on.
Sure. And we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy. Want to thank you guys for listening. And if you do work out or hit that treadmill, make sure you're listening to us. Or if you got that Pluto app, there is a Law and Order channel, and you can maybe watch 2 episodes in an hour. So I recommend that. That's what I'm doing right now.
There you go, man. Well, we wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
That was cool, Dad.